Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. Dave is still with us. We've conned him into staying.
Where's the free? I got told there was free beer. This isn't like the pub. This isn't like Falcon Blues. Where's the free beer?
It's in the mail from America. So, Terry's with us too. Max is here. And we're just doing our normal thing, except we get another awesome guy here. Yeah, that's the way it works. We're going to talk about DCL now. We tried to hold back some of our DCL love in our previous. We kind of gave the love to every other player in blue instead. But this is kind of a DCL segment, and there's a lot to consider here. A lot of people are asking the question, and I don't want to ask this question because I feel like I know what these guys would say to it. A lot of people are asking the question, well, since DCL's playing great, does this mean we don't need a striker? That's not the question, I don't think. I feel like we look at the fact that we got Nias out on loan, we got Jink Tosun who's coming in short spurts and really not doing a whole lot. I feel like we need a striker regardless. You know what I mean? And it's not as huge of a priority as it was before, but we still need it. So that's not really the question. We do need an additional center forward presence in our squad, though. I guess the question is, regardless of the purchase, is this DCL's job to lose coming up this fall? Because he's literally doing everything except scoring goals on a regular basis. I'd say maybe his decision-making needs a little bit of work too. But his clinical finishing and decision-making. But he's literally doing everything. Dave, what do you think? Is this his job to lose, man?
Yeah, I do. I think we've got in Calvert-Lewin, and I've heard it from so many people, the way he plays is reminiscent of Graham Sharp in his early days as well. Sharp, he's his presence, his ball, he can hold the ball up so well, he wins everything in the air. And it is to give away, really. The thing he's got to do is score goals, because in the end that's what he'll be judged on. He's not going to. He can be. It's like Strachler. He's like, oh yeah, he was great. He ran round a lot. He wore his heart on his chest and stuff like that. He didn't score goals, so we offloaded him. We made that change. He was dog. Let's be honest. But that's probably a poor example, but. He'll be judged on his goals, and that is the striker's career, basically. The goals will be his history, rather than he ran round a lot, he won everything in the air. It's down to Everton though to nurture his talent, to give him. He needs the goals, but he needs the service to go with it, and that's what we sort of lack at the moment. So as much as it's in Calvert-Lewin's hands to do it, it's in Everton as a team, collective, to give him that opportunity to score goals.
Yeah. Service is going to be key, but actually getting him in the game, I think, is going to be a huge thing. Max, let's go to you next. Do you see a situation possible where we make a purchase and we start that new player over DCL in the fall?
Yeah, predicated on. Yeah? I agree on what Dave said, that strikers are judged by the goal return, and just 6 goals for Everton so far this season. I think this season's been the season where we've seen the most, develop. A lot of development in terms of his technical ability, his physical ability, but we know what it's like to have a 15-20 a season striker in Romelu Lukaku, and the case is, still open. We haven't replaced them in that, really. But I don't want to set that tone. I do want to give Calvert-Lewin credit for how he's come on in these last couple of weeks. Because if you cast your mind back before that 17-day break before Cardiff, we got beat by Watford 1-0, and Silva rolled with Tosun up front there. We got beat 1-0. We've had that break, and he started with Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin scored, repaid his fate there against Cardiff, and I think the biggest game for Calvert-Lewin for me was that Merseyside derby where he was up against Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk was probably first to every ball, but I feel like as a young striker, Calvert-Lewin would have learned a hell of a lot up against a defender that good, and that, you know, that was there for all to see against Chelsea, where he gave Antonio Rudiger, you know, ran him ragged and stretched the pitch, hold the ball up exceptionally well, and we've seen that at its best against West Ham, and in this example, and against Arsenal, yeah, because he gave their back three, you know, he was all over the place against their back three, and it was great to see an Everton with an Everton striker with that willingness to run. And I will say as well, is he's leading from the front with that pressing game. You're seeing him closing down Bernd Leno, forcing mistakes out of Leno. That is what Evertonians want to see from the centre forward. All it needs now is goals, and given the way he's playing, you know, I think he's nailed on to have a continued run in the side. Just you know, that final ball. I seen Kevin Campbell talking to him after the game and giving him advice of what he needs to improve on, and then that was basically the advice that Kevin Campbell passed on to him. It's just getting in that box and, you know, that final touch, that finish, or you know, that final decision making. That's all that needs to be improved for me. But he's been exceptional. Yeah,
I mentioned decision making earlier, just because he gets into these positions where you're thinking, okay, now is where he should be sliding a pass to the right to Richarlison, or, you know, and he just, or there was one moment yesterday where he had the ball, and instead of sliding it to the left to Bernard, who was open, he tried to do a little like step over move, and it didn't come off for him. I think it ended up like getting blocked. It's just one of those moments where it's going to come with time. We're talking about a skilled, intelligent player. It's gonna come, and I think the finishing's gonna come as well. I just think that's something that's, you know, you gradually learn as a striker where you need to be positioning in order to get more goals, so that people can find you in the air. But it's also us figuring out, you know, it's chemistry as well. The wingers kind of knowing where he's gonna be. Usually, the more they play together, they know where each other's gonna be a lot more. Terry. I was going to roll with you next. One of the things about DCL that I've noticed is I never really noticed our strikers winning 50-50 balls, like goal kicks or anything like that, until DCL. You know, Tosin was getting out-jumped for them. Like, I even thought Lukaku used to get out-jumped for them often, as big as that dude was. People would sit... I always felt like he was kind of shy on headers. And DCL has none of that. He's very fearless when it comes to that stuff. It's a big part of his game. I actually think it gives us a little second life on that. You know what I mean? What are some other parts of his game that you feel like people aren't really noticing as much, just if they're maybe not fans, they don't watch him every game?
I think Calvert-Lewin's biggest strength is it's how selfless he is. Like, he facilitates the game of a lot of the other players, which is why you see more goals out of the collective attacking unit when he's in there rather than Tosin. And it's probably why, you know, you've touched on it yourselves, his decision making needs work as well. But I think a lot of the reason he's not scored more goals is he's being so, you know, selfless, and he's not actually getting himself in goal scoring positions. He's putting himself in positions to help the other players. He's pressuring, you know, off the ball. He's pressuring the opposition defence. He's winning headers. Like, at one point, he won a header yesterday against Arsenal, and it was like a flick on through ball to Richarlison, who got onto it. And it's just like, we got used to Lukaku not bringing any other players into play at all. Yeah. Like, he couldn't really make chances for other players, but he made up for that by just being absolutely deadly himself. And when you took him out of the team, the rest of the team was sort of geared to facilitate one player. They weren't goal scorers themselves, whereas now we've got, you know, double-digit goals for Sigurdsson, double-digit goals for Richarlison. And I think Calvert-Lewin has helped a lot with their game in the last few weeks. They're finding more space. They're finding themselves with better chances just because he's pulling defenders left, right and centre. And I've got to be honest, I'm a converted Calvert-Lewin skeptic. I couldn't see it at first, and I think a lot of fans were like that. I just thought he was of a certain level and he wasn't going to get any better. But I'm happy to say he's proved me wrong in the last couple of weeks. He's come on quite a lot, and he knows himself. He said on Sky Sports before the game, they did a little feature with him, and he said, I think the quote was, "I am goals away from taking the next step," which means if he can add more goals to his game, if he can start being 15 goals plus a season striker, he will play for England. He will get, these call-ups. He will make that move in everyone's mind from being a young striker who works hard and has good potential to being, he can hang. He's one of the Premier League strikers. He's one of the first choice number 9s for one of the better teams. Now, when you asked the other guys before as well about starting next season, I think 1,000% he's going to start next season. I think we will buy someone in the summer, but I wouldn't put my life on it not being a player or two who aren't from the Premier League, who won't go straight in the team. I think they'll be introduced slowly, and I think with Calvert-Lewin, you've got the luxury of doing that because you can put him in start him next season, and then any players you bring in can be introduced slowly, maybe work with Calvert-Lewin, because he can play right across the front three. I mean, he's much better down the middle, but he's such a useful player for other players. Other players play better when he's in the team. Even Lukaku, when Calvert-Lewin was playing, Lukaku always had more chances. I always found it was the only sort of cross pattern that very last season. And Calvert-Lewin was still learning his game because something else I didn't know about Calvert-Lewin, which only came out on Sunday, was that just before we signed him, he'd only played like half a season or a season as a striker. He was a central midfielder. So he's come a long way in a very quick time. Physically, he's got all the tools. It's just about learning things, and he's getting faith shown in him. So he knows if he starts to score goals, any new striker they Everton bring in, they might not be able to get him out the team. He's got the shirt for a while longer. He needs to make sure it's his, because Everton as a club need strikers, even if they keep him, because they can't just have one. Well, not if they keep him, even if they stick with him in the team, because the other strikers are they're all up for sale. Basically, they're all not got much of a future. He's the only one who's got one, so he knows there'll be new faces coming in who want that starting shirt off him, and he's going to have to show, no, I've lost this before and I'm not losing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree. I do think he will be starting, assuming he's healthy come August. Or if Europa League happens come July. That's an or. Just say it. You never know.
I want it.
Yeah, we all want it. I'll just go ahead and tell you, we talked about it last time. We want it really bad.
It amazes me how many people say, I don't want the Europa League this season. It'll mess with our league performance. Can't be any worse than this season. It's like, no, I want European. I want European football. I love these away trips. They're brilliant. I want to go to Bratislava, or want to go to friggin' Russia or wherever. Yeah, let's bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel left out watching, because I just like watching football, period. You know what I mean? So I mean, gosh, I was watching Mexican League yesterday with my kid just because it was what was on, and so I just like, but so when Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday midweek football comes on, we're not in it. It pisses me off. It makes me feel left out. I'm like, what? We've got enough talent to be able to handle this. So if it ends up working out, great. You know what I mean? If we get it, great. I say that only because I'm trying to figure out how the hope's gonna work. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I want us to continue this run. And if my shirt can stand up by itself because I haven't washed it, and if I can use it as a little lampstand if I have to, then great. You know what I mean? That's the preference, except for maybe not for my family, because they have to smell it. But yeah, if we end up continuing this run, that would be badass. I always smile at getting confident in Everton, if that makes sense. It's different. It's kind of nice. So anyway, back to DCL. Anything else on this young guy? We're talking about one of our fastest players, maybe our fastest player. I think he's our fastest player. If you look at the speed readings that they come out with every once in a while, I think he's one of the fastest players in the league. But also he's gotten strong. the kid's gotten to be pretty jacked, and his hold-up play is actually really good now. That's the thing that I was not seeing as much of last season. And he's actually able to hold some of these stronger defenders off, and that's a part of the game that's essential for Premier League because it's so physical.
Yeah, he's definitely he's been hitting the gym, definitely. I mean, it's not like Lukaku was hitting the pies, and you see the picture of Lukaku at one point where it was like, oh god, he actually looks pretty ripped here playing for Everton, and then he goes to United and turned into a balloon. But Calvert-Lewin has gone from this scrawny kid who was rapid, and we all knew he could run, we knew he could play, to this grown man.
Yeah.
Man, and it's in a matter of months, he's developed so much. I mean, you see the photos of him, those thigh muscles. Yeah. Jesus Christ, like Roberto Carlos, unbelievable. And it shows he's willing to put in the work, he's willing to put in the effort, and build on his work on his performance. And I'm so looking forward to this kid scoring goals. If he can put goals into his game, we've got an absolute world beater. And full credit to David Dunsworth for bringing him in.
Yeah. That I just keep thinking that composure is going to come. I feel like you see it with like strikers that are new into a league, or just whenever they age up, it just takes them a while to get that composure. And the best one, I mean, he's literally got everything else. So
I think if we can bring someone like Bernard into the game, where Bernard can get you like 10, 11, 12 goals a season as well. With Calvert-Lewin, bringing him into the play more, it'll do. Calvert-Lewin then knows, right, okay, I've got a command and role here up front. I can bring players into the game, and I can get into opportunities now where people are creating chances for me. Especially with Bernardo, you saw that chance that he had, where it was straight at the keeper in the end, unfortunately, from that run.
Yeah, but, I forgot about that.
Calvert-Lewin switches on, and he's in the box. There's a square ball there for him. It's little things like that, little nuances that'll come with experience. And I think Calvert-Lewin's got so much time on his hands to learn the game as well. Yeah. And that's the great thing about it. He's young, loads of time, and Silva's got time for him as well. When you look at players who he has given time to, like Lookman, everyone was saying, oh, well, why isn't Lookman playing? So, well, maybe he's not got the same attitude as DCL. So, his attitude, everything about Calvert-Lewin, apart from goals, he's almost the perfect package.
Yeah, I think.
And he's a hunk.
John likes his thigh muscles. He's dreamy. It's just, it's very nice.
Yeah.
So Gomez, watch out. You're not the only one drawing the eye these days at Everton. See, I what's funny is like I was gonna build on that point, and then you started talking about how he's an attractive fellow, and now I can't think of anything else.
You're just thinking about his thighs now. See, everyone does. between that and Gomez's beard, it's like, what else are you gonna think about?
We are helpless against it. We cannot form thoughts once it gets in here. Yeah. So anyway, well, I remember. Hey, thighs gone, wiped. Silva, the way Silva's style works, I'd be really curious. It seems as though Silva's a big believer in getting goals from lots of locations and not really thinking, hey, I want a 30-goal scorer. It's more like, let's get 12, let's get 10, let's get 15, and kind of just move it around so that you're not as difficult, you're not as easy to kind of lock down. Because if you get a 30-goal scorer, then it's like the other team can gear toward one player, and if it's everyone, it's a little bit tougher to game plan for.
I think that goes back to when Lukaku was back at Everton and he'd scored 18, 19 goals. And Steve Walsh came out with that ever amazing comment. Even without Lukaku's goals, we're finishing 7th. Unbelievable. That still bewilders me how he come up with that. But I see what you're saying, Gerry. It's like you have to take that striker out, and then the goals have got to come around the rest of the team. Digne's chipped in with a couple, and he should be taking more. Sigurdsson, 12, 13 goals. Richarlison on 13. Calvert-Lewin's only on 6. But it takes time. Yeah. He's bringing other players into the game who are scoring goals, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, Terry, your point about him not being selfish, being a very unselfish player, it's his work rate to bring and like doing things for the team. You know, when Silva was talking about Lookman, he was hinting that Lookman's not really consistent in practice, in training. You know, it seems like DCL is. So,
yeah.
Anything else, gents? Max, you look like you got something to say.
I was just going to say, don't trash Lookman. You know what I mean?
I'm not completely trashing him. I'm being nice.
Oh, right. There may be an attitude problem. He may be inconsistent in training, but for me, I love seeing Lookman and DCL in the same side. You know, they get on exceptionally well in the under-23 set up at England, and seem to combine very well on the pitch. So I'd like to see, I mean, I know it's obviously harder to get in the team with how well Richarlison and how well Bernard are playing at the minute. It's harder to get into the team, but I'd love to see Lookman given the same treatment at one point, you know, a consistent run in the game.
I could see him getting it at some point, but he did play, and I think getting that time, I think is Silva saying, hey, you're training better, you're looking a lot better, and that's why I'm putting you in. You know what I mean? That seems like it's a message. Silva seems to like to give those messages to players. You know what I mean? Reward playing the way he did with Schneiderlin. You remember Schneiderlin?
Yeah. We'll see.
Max loves Schneiderlin. And he can say that now because Schneiderlin started playing better. Yeah. But now he's hurt. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out why he wasn't on the bench, and then I heard later he was injured. So, which meant when Keane going out, McCarthy was on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
James McCarthy sighting. Yeah, I'm good with that. So, all right, guys. Anything else on DCL other than, hey, let's play the kid and hope it works out? Yeah?
No. That sounds about right. Sums it up nicely.
Right on. All right. So, that is the final video segment we are doing in this little stretch of recording. So if you want a little bit more, switch on over to the podcast. There's a quiz over there between these three gents. If you know your history, we're going to be doing a little Price is Right style. And that's the only hint I can give these three guys. It's not even a hint. So yeah, switch on over to the podcast if you want to hear how that shakes out. The reward will be the person who wins gets to pick the tune to close out to. So that's a thing. But anyway, if you're not, we'll miss you. But we do want to tell you thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We sincerely appreciate it. Dave is with the Falcon Blues YouTube channel, so you should definitely check that out. Lots of good Everton content on there. Interviews, and they're just chill and seem fun. So yeah, you should totally check them out. And subscribe if you haven't done that yet either, because then you actually know when they're dropping videos. Then you'll know if they have a huge interview, because that tends to happen with them.
Yeah. Well, I think on the next one is, well, we're hoping if he can come along, it's going to be Joe Royle.
Dude, yes.
So, and just say happy birthday, Joe Royle, as well today.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Royle is our next, hopefully our next guest for Falcon Blues TV. So I'm really excited about that. You know, I think I was like 12, 13 when we won the FA Cup in '95. So I've got those memories, all like a little bit earlier than this, like, you know, when it was the 80s and stuff like that. I haven't quite got that memory, but '95 sticks up here, like, you know, could talk about that all day. So
yeah, Joe Royle appearing on the Falcon Blues. You should check that out. Yeah, give them a look. Also, Max is just dropping content all the time. He's working on a lot of new projects right now. You got to be patient with him, but he'll put it on Twitter when he's going to be where he's going to be. He's got some irons in the fire, so to speak. But for now, you can find him always on the Toffee Blues website. So, yeah, check him out there. Terry, yeah, the Terror Bear. You can check him out on the Liverpool Echo fan jury. Yeah, he drops his knowledge on there every once in a while. Check his Twitter. You can see what happens. It's good stuff. And again, if you see Terry in person, give him a hug. He's cool with it. All right, so...
That's the theme, though.
I have no idea why that started. It's just bizarre Gerry thoughts. And I called him Tear Bear because people used to call me Jer Bear, and I just feel like, I don't know, it's like I wanted to do it to somebody else. All right. All right, so that's it. We're going to bop on over to the podcast. We'll see you next time. Take care, and yeah, thanks again to Dave again. All right?
Up the Toffees. See you in a bit.
All right. Bye-bye.